Hey guys, just I didn't want to make this little quick video because I know my news feeds start filling up with a lot of people getting under the weather. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that before it really starts happening really bad. I decided to do it in a video instead of post like I normally do because I think it's more effective for people to see your face when you're telling them something, because they can kind of gauge if you're sincere or not. A lot of times when you're putting things in writing, I mean, it's very easy to, try and make words sound a certain way and all. So when you see somebody's face as they're telling you something, you can kind of gauge your BS radar and know whether or not you can believe what they're saying or not. So that's why I'm doing the video instead of posting. And it's too much information. My little squirrel brain didn't want to have to think that much about how to put it in writing. Here's the deal. I normally try to make everything as generic as possible. I mean, y'all know I use Young Living, but I don't try to shove that down people because I don't want it to look like just trying to sell people oils, because that's not why we started on this journey. I mean, it's just not. Any of you know our story, know why I started doing this. So the thing is, now I'm just going to flat out say it. You need to get Young Living. And here's why. Because once you start truly, I'm a research junkie, so once you start truly doing the research into all these products and even start applying common sense to it, then you'll understand the difference in products. It's the same as with anything. You got your good, better, and best. And I mean, you even got your crap, basically. So I guess you got crap, good, better, and best. But what it all comes down to is the way everything is processed. That's the case with any of the things out there now, any of the natural products, our foods, any of it. It's not that the product didn't start as natural. It's just by the time it's been processed, it ends up where it does not have any value to it. The way I like to use an example, because it helped me to understand it, is like when we cook our vegetables. If you take a piece of raw broccoli and eat it, you're getting a ton of nutrition from that. If you go put it on the stove and you lightly steam it, you're still getting nutrition from it. You're just not getting as much nutrition as you did in its raw form. The more you cook it and apply heat to it, then the less you're going to have nutritional components in the broccoli. And if you cook it to death, you just don't have squat except smushy broccoli. So you're applying heat to that, and heat changes chemical components, and then also it can destroy components. So it's the same way with essential oils. You can start with a natural product, but depending on how they process that product, you can end up with none of the components in it that help you. So, and it's even deeper than that when you really get to researching in it. It starts even from the seedling. That's why Young Living has the seed to seal, from when it is actually a seed until it's packaged to be sold. But if you really get to thinking about basic, I mean, just farming and things that our grandparents used to do and stuff, in reality, our lifestyle is really not that much different than like what our grandparents did, except we're a lot sicker now. We still eat, they ate meat, they ate all the vegetables, bread, they did all the things that we do now, except they grew it themselves, and the way it was handled and processed and everything, it didn't have all the ways that we're doing now because of the mass production. They want it fast because you got to get it from where it's processed to the where they're selling it. Not to mention that the distance, all this is really, when we get down to common sense, the distance. If you got a product that is made in a state that's sold in this other state, in reality, when you think about that product, it can't get there without it going bad. So they've got to put things in there that make it where it won't rot or spoil to get it to all these locations. I mean, that's just common sense. You know how that is. If you go get some strawberries and you leave them on your counter, that in a few days they'll start going brown. So there's no way you can get all this stuff from state to to these other states without it being something on there to keep them from going bad. So that's just, I mean, that's just common sense right there. But back to the farming, it's like your seedling, when you're planting it, if you're planting it in soil that's been covered in pesticides, then what are you really accomplishing? And that's one of the things I found out that Young Living does that I thought was pretty cool. The farms where they grow the plants haven't been touched by chemicals or pesticides. It's just the earth the way it should be. So that was a big deal to me. So then the seedlings there, where they go in and they have people that actually, if it has weeds or something, they go in there and they hand weed it. They don't go in with chemicals to kill the weeds or anything like that. They go in, because one of the seminars I went to, one of the speakers there had gone to one of the farms, and they actually had all the people from the farm go out there and help weed I think they were at the one where they grow Melissa, and hand weeded where the plants were. And not only that, they had to get the ground ready, so they had to have people go out there and remove all the rocks and till it and everything, just like they used to do in the old days. So that's a big deal. And I hear often people say, those oils cost a lot. They cost a lot more than other things. Well, you got to go back to common sense again. If you've got people there that's having to work a farm, then you've got labor cost. You've got all of this manpower and that has to be taken care of. If something's created in a lab, you just got one dude standing there taking care of something. I mean, you don't have any labor cost. And it goes back to also processing. The plants actually go through different, their chemistry changes as they grow. So what usually happens is let's take lavender for example. Once a lavender grows, if you're in it for the buck, which is what most of them are, they'll just go out there, they'll take the lavender, they go ahead and cut it, they quick process it, they get it in a little bottle and they label as 100% pure, and it truly did come from a lavender plant. But if that plant's not tested to see what components are in it at the time, then you may not be getting anything, because it reminds me of a teenager. As they grow and they get older, their hormones change, and different levels of hormones as they get older. It's kind of the same way with the plant. As the plant grows, the constituents in it changes. And there's a certain point where it has the most constituents in that plant, and that's when you want to harvest it. So if you harvest it then, you're going to get the most therapeutic benefits of that plant. Then you have to process it after it's harvested. Well, if you quick process it, that usually involves heat, and you're going to destroy what you had in the beginning. So you end up, once again, with nothing. So it's good. Uses a lot of the cold press. That's the way Young Living does a lot of theirs. So once again, that takes time. And you got to realize one of the reasons things are out there that's not working is when you use speed, it's just not going to be the same. You can't, it's that McDonald's mentality, just drive through and get it. It's just not the case. You can't take these things and rush them and still get therapeutic constituents of what we want. So once again, you wait for the plant to get where it needs to be. Then you process it the way it needs to be. And then it's actually tested to make sure that it has the quality control that they're looking for. So all this is time consuming. So I hear a lot of times people say, oh, well, their stuff stays out of stock. Well, once again, you can't get all this quickly. So when you're doing it like this, you got things that come up with nature, dry spells, flooding, things that affect crops. We're so used to we're so used to chemicals that we forget that when things truly come from things like crops, I mean, it takes time. So they may be out of stock of something, but would you rather be out of stock, or would you rather get something that's just crap and you just pay for it and it's not going to work? So They test it, make sure it's what it needs to be, and then it's packaged and then it's sent out. So there is a big deal there. So you got to understand. I had this recently where someone said, "Oh, I got those oils that you suggested," and they didn't help me. Well, it was just one of these off-name brands, and there's all kind of marketing loopholes also that they can say that something is 100% natural. Well, that's not true. I can't remember the number, but I think it only has to be like 60% or something like that for it to be considered natural. But it's not even that. It could truly be natural, but that doesn't, like I said, doesn't mean it's going to work. Because if they heated it or if they quickly did it, the plant, I mean, you're still not getting anything. And another thing is, I've heard people say that, oh, I got one other than it did work. I'm not saying that something that may not work, but so that goes back to the good, better, best. If they did start off with a natural product, and depending on how they process it, it could have some constituents in it that would work. But it may, I'm just pulling numbers out right now. There may be normally in one of the Young Living oils, let's say 300 constituents in it that you need for that therapeutic grade. The other one may have 50. So it's not like it doesn't have some and could work to a certain degree, but there's a big difference in having 50 of what you need and 300 of what you need. And I don't know about you, but when it comes to my health and the health of my family, I'm not going to go with 50 when I can get 300. I'm just not. It's just not worth it. And then I hear people once again say, oh, the oils cost too much. Some of them do. They are some that do, but that's the ones that's normally in products like that's in the high-end skincare and things like that. And it's because their availability is not there. So it's hard to get a hold of. So it's like with anything, back to our basic in school, quality and demand. If it's not a product that is easily available like lavender, the cost is going to go up, just the way it is. But most of them are, around $20. So, and you gotta remember, these last a long time too. I mean, it only takes a drop or two of these, and like the 5 ml bottle, I think has around 80 to 90 drops, and the 15 ml has around 250 drops. So, I mean, it can easily last you several months. And some of them you just keep on hand in case you need them. And they have a unlimited lifetime shelf life as long as you keep them cool and in a dark place. So you can have them on hand when you need them, and they're not going to go bad, because it doesn't do you any good to want it after you already have an issue. I mean, it'd take a week for it to even ship to you easily. So that's just, you need to have it on hand. So it really does make a difference in what you're getting. So I just tell you flat out, you need to get Young Living. And because I know the processes it goes through, and where the others don't. So you can spend your money on them, but you're not getting anything. So if you ever have any questions about it, just let me know, and we'll see what we can figure out. But I just thought you needed to understand how it all works, so that you realize that when you go out there and get these other essential oils and you say they don't work, no, they truly do work, because you can't get any more of a squirrel, anxious little squirrel than me. And if they work on me, they'll work on anybody. So, hope this helps kind of give you an understanding of them and clears up some stuff. Thanks.